On Maui, a Lahaina man remains behind bars this afternoon, charged with 15 offenses, including kidnapping, burglary, theft, fraud, and resisting arrest.
Rocky Hermans-RAYMOND is accused of stealing an SUV from the Kahului shopping center on Sunday, kidnapping a 57-year-old woman who is still inside of the vehicle. The woman pleaded with the suspect, asking him to let her out, but he continued to drive off. She was able to escape, though, when Hermans-RAYMOND eventually stopped at West Wakea Avenue. Police were able to locate him and the vehicle later that afternoon in Lahaina, but Hermans-RAYMOND refused to stop, leading officers on a chase past Nakalele Point.
2 vehicle crashes happened within that time, and the suspect was able to get away. But officers found him the next day stealing a truck in Waihee. He was taken into custody after a brief struggle with officers. Hermans-RAYMOND is currently being held on $105,000 bail.
Turning to an update now to a story we first brought to you on Wednesday. The man accused of trying to rob an Oahu store with a finger gun now faces robbery charges. KIMWILL MARSOLO made his first appearance in court this morning. He's accused of trying to rob the cashier at Dive Oahu near Kewalo Basin yesterday morning, and it was all caught on video here. MARSOLO allegedly walked into the store with a bandana covering his right hand and then allegedly demanded the cashier empty the register or he'd shoot. But the employee tugged the bandana and found he was just pointing a finger at her. MARSOLO ended up driving off on a moped, but was arrested a few hours later in Iwilei. His bail is set at $11,000.
The man accused of beating an elderly driver in Laie back in July pleaded not guilty today to charges of assault. The incident was captured on surveillance video. Footage shows what is alleged to be 28-year-old Daniel Reed Aikau pulling up to a truck in Laie and then arguing with the 70-year-old driver before the elderly man falls. Aikau is accused of kicking and punching the older man several times while he was on the ground. Prosecutors initially decided not to pursue charges, but took back the case after reviewing additional evidence. Aikau is currently free after posting $11,000 bail. His trial is scheduled to begin at the end of November.
And on the Big Island, police are warning residents about an increase in online scams, saying some of them include criminals posing as police officers and then demanding money. The scams also include contacting a victim about winning a prize, but first requiring payment in the form of a wire transfer or gift card. Other scams have involved a check being sent to the victim for payment of a product being sold online, but the check will be larger than the amount agreed upon, and the scammer will then ask the victim to send a check for the difference. Big Island police say officers will never ask you to wire money, and payment is only needed after a service request, such as duplication of police reports or when bail is set.
The Internal Revenue Service is also seeing an uptick in scams, this time involving texting. The IRS is warning taxpayers to be aware of what's called smishing. Scammers will send a text usually containing a link leading people through fake COVID-19 financial relief, tax credits, or fake online accounts. When people click on the link, it'll ask for personal information or send potentially malicious codes to the phone. The IRS says it does not send emails or text messages asking for personal information.
And back on the Big Island, a 21-year-old Kailua Kona man has died after crashing his motorcycle into a 4Runner Wednesday night in North Kona. Police identified the man as Kalai Lincoln. HPD says he was driving on Kealakehe Street without his headlights on, but he was wearing a helmet. Police believe speed was a factor in this crash. This marks the 28th traffic fatality on the Big Island this year, compared to 18 at the same time last year.